Let's face it, sometimes life can get tough. And for some people, those tough times are far harder than those of the average person. Times where people can feel alone or as if they have nowhere else to turn. Social workers are a unique group of people who help those who feel helpless, people dealing with personal or social problems. They can do this case by case or via programs that benefit groups and communities. Today, I'm at the Department of Child Protection and Family Support to find out what it takes to be a social worker. As a social worker at the Department of Child Protection, practitioners ensure the well-being and safety of children and young people. With the opportunity to specialise in specific areas, social workers provide people with counselling and support through crisis situations, as well as helping out in the community. Hi Danielle, I'm Rebecca.
How you going?
I was just wondering, could I pick your brain on what it's like to be a social worker?
Absolutely.
Fantastic, let's go have a chat. So Danielle, take us through a typical day of being a social worker.
There's never a typical day being a social worker. It depends on what's happening with the families to what we're going to do on that day. So we may have a day where you're answering phone calls and going through emails and you're office-based, to going out with police, checking houses, doing home visits. It just depends on what clients you have.
Wow, that sounds really full on. What inspired you to want to be a social worker?
I wanted to help people, and being a social worker in the Department of Child Protection, we get to help the children, and I think that makes a big difference in the future.
What would you say the most rewarding part of your job is?
Helping the children, making sure that they're safe.
What would you say the hardest part of your job is?
Probably work-life balance, because you give 110% at work all the time. It's trying to leave work at work and go home and have a life.
What advice would you give someone if they were looking to be a social worker?
Get some life experience first, so you're grounded in your practice and you know how to go into certain issues.
And apart from the Department of Child Protection, what other organisations need social workers?
Lots of organisations. So we have the Health Department, Department of Corrections, and non-govy agencies as well, such as Wansley, Uniting Care West.
If you could list from now to school, what steps does somebody need to take if they wanted to be a social worker?
You need to graduate Year 12 at high school. Then you go on to university, do social work degree or psychology degree, graduate from that and then do a placement.
And what characteristics does somebody need to be a social worker?
You need to be a very confident person, you need to like challenges and be very resilient as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for having a chat with us today. What you do, I'm sure, is very much appreciated throughout the community.
Thank you.
If you want to find out more information on becoming a social worker, jump onto myfuture.edu.au.